Welcome to my channel. I'm Dani Marie AUC, and today we're going to talk about photophobia. Photophobia is a weird word. Photophobia is light sensitivity, and it happens in albinism because we lack the pigment in our eye to block out the UV rays. So pigment in the iris of the eye normally is a protective barrier from UVA, UVB rays, but because albinism leads to a lack of that pigment, we are less protected. So many of us have photophobia. Just as albinism is a huge spectrum, photophobia is also a huge spectrum. So not everybody with albinism has a lot of photophobia. Some people have more, some people have less. And the same goes for other eye conditions with photophobia. So photophobia definitely has different levels of severity, and some people are more affected by it than others. So this video is part one in a series I'd like to do on photophobia. Once the other videos are live, or if they're already live when you're watching this, I'll put them in a card up here or in a link in the description. Other parts will include what you can do for yourself or what you can do for your family and friends with photophobia. So if you're a parent, grandparent, friend, or other family member to someone who has photophobia, this first section is specifically for you. So children, they can't speak up for themselves to tell us when their eyes are feeling sensitive or when the lights are too bright, but we can learn to recognize some basic symptoms that go along with photophobia. Every behavior has a purpose, especially when it comes to a child. So the first behavior is closing the eyes. The eyelids are the body's second defense after pigment in the iris to protect itself from UVA and UVB rays. After about 2 or 3 months of age, you can start keeping an eye on which settings your baby keeps his or her eyes closed most in, and that may help you identify his or her level of sensitivity to light. So squinting is the next behavior you can notice in your child. As he or she grows into a toddler, they may rely less on fully closing their eyes and more on squinting. So I still squint quite a lot as an adult, and I mean I'm probably squinting right now. But squinting basically allows you to limit the amount of light coming into your eye. So the next behavior is burrowing, or your child may cover his or her head with objects. So at this point, a child may still not be able to verbalize what it is they are feeling, like if the light's too bright for them, or if maybe their eyes are tired and they don't want to deal with the sun right now. You know, that happens sometimes too. They may cover their eyes with a hand or a hat or their clothing or your clothing or you. They could grab anything that's around them, a blanket, a stuffed animal, or anything else like that. So I know this behavior is super cute. It looks like, oh, my baby's just being shy. But remember to keep in mind the settings in which he or she does this, because like I said at the beginning, every behavior, especially in children, does have a purpose. So the last big behavior I have in this list is shielding the eyes with a hand or another object. So I do this all the time. I will be outside even with my sunglasses on, and will take my hand and put it on my forehead to block out the light coming in the top of my sunglasses. And for people with pretty severe photophobia, even the light coming in the top of the sunglasses or the sides of the sunglasses can impair their vision. So you're probably most likely to see this in older kids who have either seen someone they know do this or have seen it on TV. Another thing I want to include under this topic is something I do, and I have seen other people do it. I will place a hand in front of my eye and make sort of a peephole when my eyes are feeling tired or when the surroundings are too bright and I'm trying to look at something like my phone. It generally looks like this. And I have a little peephole in my eye. And I will hold my phone right up there, like so, to read it. This kind of helps narrow the light that's coming into my eye and lets me focus more on what it is I'm trying to look at. I used to do this a lot while reading as a kid too, and I read a lot of print books as a kid. I still don't know exactly how I did that, but here I am now, living in the world of ebooks. So next I want to talk about some challenging situations for those of us with photophobia. Sunny days are what come to mind, right? So sunny days are beautiful. People go outside and they enjoy the sun on their face and they have a wonderful time. I also enjoy sunny days. I find them to be beautiful and enjoyable most of the time. But I just have to take a little more caution than those without photophobia. But what I really want to talk about are seemingly harmless situations in which photophobia can be a challenge. If you're still here, don't forget to check out part 2, which will be coming out next week, or below in the description box, where I'll talk about what you can do to manage these challenges if you have photophobia. Setting number 1, sun, sand, water, and snow. So this category is all about reflections. Here's a mini light lesson. Light colors reflect light, while dark colors like black absorb light. Because sand and snow are both such a light color, they both reflect light. And water also reflects light, but for different reasons. But for that information, you'll have to consult a physics channel. So because each of these surfaces I've mentioned reflect light, we're hit with light both from above with the sun and from below with the reflections. And this can really be overwhelming to those of us with light sensitivity. So normally I'd be able to look down at the ground, and generally the ground is a darker color, so like asphalt or grass. But on days where I spend my time at the beach or in the snow, this can be more of a challenge. The next unassuming situation is overcast days. So though an overcast day is less intense than a direct sunny day, the sun still lights the clouds, turning the sky into essentially a light box, and it becomes really glary. So this can happen on rainy days too. Generally, the clouds are darker on rainy days, but sometimes, especially if you've ever seen an afternoon shower near the coast, you can have pretty light clouds or sometimes non-existent clouds and rain falling. So on overcast days and sometimes on rainy days, I still have to wear my sunglasses. So the next setting is the car or any kind of vehicle or outdoor transportation. So cars can generally seem like a safe place as far as light goes, but the light coming in from all sides and sometimes the top can really make the inside of a car bright. And because riding in a car or transportation is so dynamic, with the light shifting from side to side or front to back as you travel, it can be a challenge to manage with photophobia. So my next setting is big, beautiful windows. You can find these all over the place, honestly, stores, restaurants, and your home. So I love natural lighting. I love it as much as probably anyone without photophobia. I think it's the best lighting for photos. It's the best lighting for showing off interior design and getting a natural look at the colors that are inside a room. But it can really be a challenge for those of us with photophobia. You can have these big windows in your house, say your living room, where you have your 3 big windows that let in so much light, and enjoy that. But you can also find them in places like your kitchen, where there's often a window directly over the sink. So sometimes when I wash dishes during the day, I actually wash dishes with my eyes closed because the light coming in the window is just so intense. My last big setting where photophobia is really a challenge is fluorescent lighting. Fluorescent lighting is everywhere. It's in settings where we spend most of our time. You can find them in schools, offices, hospitals, supermarkets, and everywhere else you can think of. And the issue with fluorescent lighting is that in these settings, they're so often overused. So often you'll have way more lighting than even someone without photophobia requires, in my opinion. This becomes even more of a challenge when these settings have a bright white or light colored floor, where fluorescent lighting is also reflected back up at a person. So I've seen these white floorings in supermarkets, in hospitals, and sometimes in schools as well. And like I said, we spend so much of our time in these areas that they can be a real challenge. So in this video, I've covered some of the basic symptoms for photophobia. Some of the things that come later do include eye strain, eye fatigue, and headaches, and for some people, migraines. So that's why my next video is going to be so important. Keep an eye out for things you can do to help mitigate the symptoms of photophobia. And I've only listed a few big settings here where photophobia can be challenging. If you have more, please list them in the comments for anybody who might be scrolling through there, browsing for information. I hope this information was helpful for some of you new parents and family with children who have albinism or photophobia. I've spoken with quite a few of you over the years about albinism and my own experiences, and I look forward to getting to know more of you. If you found this information helpful or you enjoyed my video, please like, subscribe, and share. That's really going to help my channel grow in the future, and that's going to help me to create more content like this that is hopefully entertaining and informative. I've really enjoyed making these videos for you guys, and I look forward to making more. For those of you who enjoy reading, I will also link my article below where I discuss all of these settings and things in detail. There are also a few helpful links on there, as well as other links on my site that you can check out. Keep an eye out for part 2. It's coming soon. Or check the description box, it might be down there already. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious. Bye.